Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Balls podcast. Little bit of a different setup, but we're hoping to try and bring you guys more regular shows on this podcast because it's a little bit inconsistent. And I think that if we can get this every week out, at least, that would be a great way to do it. We've got some new guests. We've got regular guests that are going to be coming on every week from now on. We're going to cover everything Chelsea, all things Chelsea. So let's just start off. Let's go around. I mean, Kev, how are you, my friend? You've been on pretty much
Yeah,
every episode since we started.
yeah, I've probably missed about 4 or 5. Just to give other people a turn, to be fair. And you're right, needs to be on consistently if you're gonna make it happen. And I think it's been 1 week on, 3 weeks off, 1 week on, 2 weeks off. So let's try and make it a consistent show. But yeah, it's great to be back on.
And they're saying that that you're Gallagher, you're Alex's Gallagher. That's what they're saying, Kev. You know,
What is that?
90-minute man.
they're saying you're there week in, week out, my bro.
Yeah, no, I'm fully fit, fully match fit. I don't come off. I don't.
Every week, Kev.
Yeah,
Reliable, it's Mr. Reliable, isn't it?
Mr. Reliable. I'm here. So even though I couldn't be, I wasn't really up for it tonight. I'm still here. So it goes to show like you have to be committed to these kind of things. But been all right. Had a couple of days off work, just relaxing really. So back at it tomorrow.
You're not just playing for a new contract then.
I'm playing for. I need more money. So I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be in touch. Be in touch with you later to see if we can get that sold. Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you, my friend Dan? This is your second time on the show, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, all good. I had a good time last time, so I've decided to come back. No, I'm joking. But yeah, love it actually. I really like talking forever. So podcasts work great for me. So yeah, really good. And looking forward to just discussing that Man City game we've got coming up at the weekend and how it's going to go.
100%. I mean, there's so many things on top of that we're going to dive into. How are you, Don, mate?
Yeah, listen, away from football, life's good, man. Busy with work and everything, but when it comes to speaking Chelsea, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating because it just feels like we're just not moving from where we are. We're 10th and it's February, so and we've got Man City coming up. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it, man. But I'm just ready for the season to end. I can't even lie to you, man. I'm tired of this.
Really?
No,
I'm tired of this, man.
Come on.
I'm in the league. When I talk about the league, man, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of this. It's like one step forward, 16 steps back. You know what I'm saying? So, and I believe in these players. I think these players are good, but it's just the manager that I've just got no confidence in.
So you just completely lost hope with Pochettino?
Yeah, I've lost all hope of the guy. I'm still Poch out. I'm not going to change my opinion until he consistently sets us up correctly. You know. So
yeah, because we had a debate about this when I was on holiday in Dubai. And I mean, it's quite clear on Poch and like, don't get me wrong, Don. There's been a few times where I've been very, and it's difficult to defend some of the decisions. But ultimately, I think, it's like when you look at anything in life. If you look at things game by game all the time, and you look at things just over 90 minutes, and you don't look at the bigger picture, that's the way I look at it. And I think that Chelsea fans are still judging this Chelsea side, this Chelsea ownership, as if we were under Abramovich. And like, if Abramovich was here, we know he's gone. We know Poch isn't lasting. He would have been sacked before Christmas.
10 games in.
I would agree. The thing is, Alex, I would agree with that take more if we was around, it's like 6th, 7th at the moment. But we are 10th. We were literally just 11th, right? And up against Palace, bro, shocking performance that first half. And in the second half, we just did just about enough to beat them because they were crap. They had no Elise, no Eze. But before the game, I said we should be convincing, majority of the game, and we should beat them comfortably. And that was not a comfortable win. We were better than them. We deserved to win, in my opinion, but it was not a comfortable win, like it should have been, considering they were missing 2 of their main players. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm still not happy right now, man. I can't lie. I'm still not happy with Pochettino. I think he's just killing these guys. And week after week, I've got to jump online and hear people talking crazy about the players. You know what I mean? So that's where my mind's at right now. But we'll get into it, man.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you were talking about, your perception of where we're going to finish and the fact that you want the season to end. there was a little poll that Sky did for the fans, and Chelsea fans' predicted finish on average was 6th, and obviously we're 10th now.
At the beginning of the season.
Yes, at the beginning of the
Right.
season, they on average we were predicted from this poll to most fans said we would finish 6th, which I actually think is quite.
You were saying top 4 on Big Sky Sports, and now you're talking about. Now you're talking about, we've got to look at the bigger picture, guys.
I was saying top 4. I'm not even
know what?
I felt if we got a strike,
we're 10th, Alex.
So achievable.
But you know what? I was right to think the way I thought, because actually on paper and the way things were going, we had a great squad. But the reality is, I think we do have a good squad, but it was misrepresented. It was misjudged. From the players' point of view in terms of how good we thought they were and how good they actually are. From the manager's point of view, the impact that he would have on the season, and then from the ownership's point of view for what they were actually trying to do this year. Because if they were trying to seriously make serious strides, we would have spent some money in January. So that tells me where the owners are on this season. So ultimately, I was wrong in terms of Champions League position. I don't think I'm necessarily going to be wrong from a European standpoint. And I would love to know the gap as well when the season finishes from 4th place to wherever we finish. And if that's a big gap, fair play, but not necessarily. Teams might drop points. There's a lot of injuries going around. And ultimately, the beginning of the season for a lot of teams can be very, very different to the second half of the season. But we're going to find out. I mean, Dan, we've spoken countless times about Poch. I feel like you're Poch out, just like Don. I know that, but you have a little more understanding.
I do, yes. I think you actually touched on something a minute ago, saying about if we had Abramovich, Poch would be gone by now. I think Abramovich would have learned his lesson with Rafa, and I don't think Poch would have ever actually been hired if Abramovich was at the club, because I think he sets his standards a lot higher than where Pochettino has got himself to in management. And I think he probably understands that after he made that mistake with hiring Rafa and how that went down to Chelsea fans, you just don't do it. But look, we can't change that now. Poch is in the job. Poch
Roman wanted it, though. You wanted Poch.
I didn't want Poch.
I did.
Roman actually wanted Poch when he was at Chelsea.
But we never got him, and probably for good reason. And we always ended up getting more ruthless people that were cutthroat. As much as we hated Rafa still achieved something with the squad that I'll never see Pochettino do. And I think the best Poch is going to get out of us for now is potentially if we manage to just turn up in the League Cup final against probably one of the best teams in the world. Look, Poch has got a tough job in his hand. I do think he needs time, but if I'm being completely honest with you, I just don't see enough from him on the pitch for me to change my mind at all. It's so frustrating. I feel like that game against Palace, we should have absolutely dominated that game in terms of creating chances. We dominated the game by holding on to it on the edge of our own half. And I'm fed up seeing that with Chelsea. I'm fed up seeing not very progressive football. I'm fed up seeing us holding on to the ball for the majority of our possession, literally in and around the halfway line and wasting chances. I think we've had over 200 chances inside the box this season, and we've managed to score like 30 goals for inside the box, which is crazy. Like, I'm fed up seeing like no clinician. I'm fed up with seeing players being misprofiled. I just think he's getting so much wrong. And the only thing I'd say is, and this is where I take a different stance on him though, is that they are basics, but this is where I take a different stance, is that I feel like one, he has a horrific injury problem at Chelsea that is not easy for any manager to overcome. You never know a consistent squad. You never know who's going to be able to stay fit. And that is why he puts so much faith in a player like Conor Gallagher, because he's so durable. He can manage 90 minutes, game after game after game, staying fit. Work rate is exceptional for the whole game. And I think that's actually why he probably backed Sterling for a long time, because he was always available too. I think he's probably deciding that he's got players who can achieve him better results than playing Raheem Sterling. I think he's probably realised that now. But yeah, I'm not seeing enough from him. And I do think he's been given a mismatched squad with a lot of players in some areas and not enough players of good enough quality in other areas. I think he's backed players and they've been moved on, or he's asked for players and he's not received them. The fact that we went all of January without really bringing anyone in really concerned me. And I'm not sure in terms of how it's going to go with Poch, but I've got this horrible feeling that after the probably inevitable result at Wembley, it will turn into a very toxic football club to be around.
It will turn. I think it already is, to be fair.
No way. It'll get so much worse if we don't win at Wembley.
I think it's as bad as what it is.
No, because we've still got hope. We've still got hope, Kev.
Yeah,
you know, there's still that slight.
And what makes it even worse is this guy keeps getting, you know, like Trent is out for that game. I know they played Conor Bradley the last game and he scored against us.
Yeah.
But if you look at the game tactically, right, we had Ben Chilwell and Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling was not trying to help that guy. Yeah, at the back, trying to track back. Bradley had all the space in the world. Right,
yeah,
so I've been saying it.
Weren't trying to track back that game.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That left-hand side is grenade football. Yeah, the ball goes to them, it blows up at their feet. Right? That left side is just bad. It's bad, bro. It's terrible, that side. Yeah. You know, Chilwell by himself is bad. Now imagine Bradley running at him with no help. Do you know what I mean? It's a problem, right? And then you've got obviously Szoboszlai, he's out as well. They've been weakened. What we need to do against Liverpool is set up very similar to how Arsenal set up against them with the double pivot of Jorginho and Rice. And then you had Odegaard playing in a 10, right? Because Liverpool's midfield is imbalanced. Remember what happened at the Bridge? And we didn't have Caicedo for that game.
That's your problem there, Don.
We bossed their midfield.
The players you've listed off for Arsenal that can occupy that midfield compared to what we can potentially put out. Like,
you're telling me a double pivot of Enzo, Caicedo, and Palmer in the 10, for example, or even if you play Gallagher in the 10 because we're playing Liverpool, who are gonna come out and play. You're telling me that's not a balanced midfield that can do a job?
Nah. No way. Rice, Jorginho, Cole Palmer, or Conor Gallagher. And then Caicedo, Enzo. Like, there's only one midfield there that can control a game, and it isn't Chelsea's. Like, Arsenal's midfield.
I've got to disagree. Really? I've got to disagree. Yeah, I've got to disagree with that, man. Because the way Enzo plays the game, Enzo dictates the game, and Enzo's
but not under Pochettino. He doesn't.
That's my point. That's on the manager. That's on the manager. How the manager is setting us up. If I agree with you, the reason why you're saying that, and you've got that point of view is because you're seeing Enzo leaving Caicedo by himself, right? Last season, if you remember, we had no DM because we sold Jorginho. So Enzo literally had to be he was the only one in the squad that could do that job. Zakaria got injured. He was never fit. He's not even a DM. He's an 8. But we kept playing him there because we had no DM. Do you know what I'm saying? But Enzo's best position is picking up the ball and dictating the game. And Caicedo, next to him, he's the octopus. He's meant to be the guy winning the ball back. But on the ball, he's not as good as Enzo on the ball. He's not as good as Lavia on the ball. Hence why he needs help. Obviously, I'm not saying Enzo should stick back next to him the whole game. But in terms of the first phase, building up consistently, if we want to control that midfield, Enzo has to be next to Caicedo majority of that game in build-up, right? Otherwise, what will happen is what happened against Anfield. Caicedo will be on, I call it Pochettino's island, right? He'll be on Pochettino's island by himself again, and he'll have 3 or 4 men running at him, and then we'll score, and everyone's going to be looking at the midfield like, what's Caicedo doing? Or what's this guy doing? And that's another reason why I want this guy out, because he's killing these, man, and he's making them look worse than what they are. These are not bad players.
I think
these are not bad players.
He did play deeper against Villa, and he played a little bit deeper against Palace as well.
But this is my point, Alex. So he's done that a few times this season. If you remember the Arsenal game, he made him play there. Liverpool, the first game of the season.
Ran the show. To be fair, I'll give you that, Donny. He ran the show that first game of the season.
Preston,
and then he got moved to 10, and then he's just not been the same since.
Exactly. He gets moved around. The guy is a deep line playmaker. Help Caicedo in the build-up, and then you run away when we've actually got control of the ball. Not the other way around. If we haven't got control of the ball, I can't lie to you. If you guys watch Caicedo closely, he's becoming a trigger for a press because he's good on the ball, but he's not levels. Do you know what I mean? Guys are realizing now that if you press him, you can get the ball back off of him.
Man. He just needs to sit and sweep. That's Caicedo's job.
Caicedo at Brighton.
His ball retention is not very good.
Yeah, but that's
his press resistance.
Let's see what Kev has to say.
Go on, Kev.
Caicedo's ball retention's not always hasn't been the best. He's basically a ball winning midfielder. He's someone you want to play next to Enzo. So when you look at it tactically, when you look at Caicedo's been pushed up and he's been playing in areas that he's not used to, that's the reason why he's giving the ball away so much. And when he gives the ball away, what's that allowing other teams to do? Exploit the space where he should be occupying. So
Caicedo's not being pushed up. He's our deepest.
There's plenty of games where I've seen Caicedo. there's a picture going around from the last game we had against Palace. And I think it's the start. He's got the ball, and the midfielders are pushed right up into their half. He's sitting there dictating the play, or
Caicedo's usually there.
Caicedo that's why Caicedo he should be occupying that space every time.
He does. He
needs to, yeah, that's what I mean. So when you look at it tactically, you need Caicedo dropping and Enzo pushed a bit further up. And that's
that's what's been killing us.
That's what we're doing, man. That's just not it. Like, we need to be in a 2. Like, we see against Villa, Caicedo still kind of occupied that space in between the centre-backs, which is a little bit too deep for me, but that's where he's been most of the season. And then Enzo was out to the left, kind of in that space that you've got in between. Who was it? It was probably not Matty Cash. Who's there? Who did they have out on the right?
They had Kamara
and Bailey.
What, on the right-hand side? Right. Yeah, Bailey was playing on the right. Yeah,
in that gap between Bailey and the right-sided centre midfielder that Villa had, that's where Enzo was picking up that space, like on the left. And you see the goal that we scored where he switched it out to Gusto, like he's in that little pocket to the left. So the distance is just a little bit too far for me still. Like, I feel like if they could move and be a lot more central together, we definitely start to see a way better understanding between the two. I feel like, how can they create an understanding between each other when they're so far apart from each other 90% of the games they're playing? And I think Poch just expects them to be able to do a job on their own in those areas of the pitch, which is crazy.
And that's why it's frustrating, Dan. One of the key things you said earlier is the guy has misprofiled a lot of the players in his team, from Levi Colwill to Ben Chilwell left wing, to playing, again, Enzo in the 10, right? To playing Caicedo as a lone 6. Okay, this is
playing our best player, Cole Palmer, out of position. You know what I mean?
Playing guys out of position, right? If you look at our squad, I know he's had a lot of injuries, and yes, that's not even an excuse. That's the reality of our situation right now. And for me, our best six is Lavia, but he's injured. If you watch Lavia at Southampton,
I've not seen enough, man.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm gonna go into. I watched over 10 games of Lavia last season. When they played all of our, like when they played us, when they played Arsenal, when they played Man City, when they beat Man City in the Carabao Cup, if you remember, he had a very good game that game. He bossed that midfield. He bossed us at the bridge. He bossed us away. He even scored against us. At Arsenal, when they took him off, they ended up conceding 2 goals when Arsenal bottled the league and drew that game against Southampton. Yeah. When you watch Lavia, he can do that role by himself because he's very press resistant. It's hard to get the ball off that guy, right? He on the ball. It's very, very hard to get off him. He's not like a Caicedo. Do you know what I mean? He drops his shoulder quite a lot. He does steps.
But
you know
what I'm saying? Did that at Brighton. Watch the footage, man. He's
Caicedo
had a lot of support
last season.
Caicedo, exactly. That's my point. I was going to get onto the Caicedo at Brighton. Caicedo always had Gross next to him or McAllister next to him. But if you look at Lavia on the ball, he's trusted to be by himself because he's very press resistant. Caicedo's not on the same level in terms of his ball playing ability. He's not as press resistant as Lavia. But what Poch has been doing is playing him as a lone 6 when he's never been a lone 6. Caicedo's never been a lone 6. No. Even if you watched him again for Ecuador when he played with our boy Kendry Payers, right? Their midfield, Kendry was playing in midfield with Caicedo, and there was a clip that was going around on Twitter. I think this was in the summer, right? They were linking up, combining together, playing off of each other. That's what Caicedo does. When Caicedo looks up, he's trying to play it to someone and make movements, not pick up the ball and keep running. That's when he ends up losing it. Do you know what I mean? Caicedo needs help. He needs someone there to combine with. That's what Caicedo was at Brighton, and that's what he should be in our team. For me, going forward, Caicedo's best position is going to be as an 8, in my opinion. When Lavia comes into this team, you're going to see Caicedo push up further up with Enzo, and we're probably going to play a 4-3-3 with Palmer on the right.
Kind of like what Sarri did with Kante, yeah, that kind of role.
Yeah, as an 8. I don't think he's a 6. He's definitely not a lone 6. And if he plays as a 6, he has to be in a pivot.
As a 6. Not if he goes into a 6 on his own, yeah, right? I think he could be capable of playing that. But you can't have a midfield with the distances that we have in our midfield right now.
I agree with that.
So even if he's playing as a lone 6, right, that Poch thinks he can do, and it's probably shown in training that he can do it, yeah, then when it comes to match day, the distance that we've got in between our midfield is just allowing other teams to get in there and run the show and isolate Caicedo even more, or sit in a low block and just occupy our higher midfielders. They literally man mark him, and then Caicedo's left optionless, causing him to dwell on the ball, and he just keeps losing it.
Yeah, I have to say, I completely agree with what you said in terms of misprofiling players. Like there's no doubt that Pochettino's done that. The way I look at it is very simple. If you sack Pochettino this season, I just don't see how you're bringing any stability into a club that needs stability so badly. And one thing Pochettino will offer you is stability. It might not look like it from what you see on the pitch, but I can assure you he is helping players settle. He's helping players develop. And we can't see it. But once things click on the pitch, fans will have a completely different view of that. Now, tactically, I know he's not great. I completely agree with you. I think that in some of the bigger games this season, even the smaller games, the changes we've made, it sometimes it doesn't add up in my head. But this is a manager who is not experienced in coming into a club that needs to win straight away. If you look at his CV, even let's take PSG off it. No, but let's take PSG off of it because how can you compare managing Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar, that kind of squad, to what we are dealing with right now in the Premier League, the biggest rebuild in world football ever as a club, not just from the club standpoint. You're literally looking at every single aspect of Chelsea in 10 years' time is going to be so different. So different. We're going to have a different stadium. We could be in a different location. We have a different ownership structure. We have a different structure for the scouting side of things. We're not looking to buy ready-made players. We're looking to develop and sign youth. So clearly that's changed the priorities, and that's going to change what we see on the pitch as well. Because when you look at development, ultimately, you're not going to see players develop overnight. And I don't think that 6 months. I mean, 6 months. What the hell is 6 months? Really, 6 months? You think you're going to see a world-class player develop in 6 months? You know, Declan Rice, before we really said he was the man at West Ham, he'd been there a few years. He played as a centre-back. He played as a midfielder. Then he was solidified, and he was there for the last couple of seasons. Obviously, well, you know, really, really good player. Ultimately, we're just too impatient as a fan base.
No, we're definitely not, man.
People say that I don't have standards because I'm patient. Now, I can promise you this. If Pochettino's here next season and I see what I'm seeing this season, I'm not going to be saying the same things. But in order to develop, you need to get to know the team you have. And the team don't even know themselves, Don. It's not like another manager coming in under Abramovich, where every single player has played together, won titles together, knows what it plays for Chelsea, and is settled in Chelsea.
Let me ask you a few questions then, Alex, yeah?
Go on.
How long does it take to realize that Silva doesn't need to play weekly when he's literally nearly Poch's age? How long does it take to realize that Ben Chilwell is not a left winger? How long does it take to realize that Levi Cole gets cooked at left back weekly and you've got Maatsen over there? And by the way, Maatsen just won player of the season. Player of the month in Germany.
I ain't having that.
No. That's not the point, Dan. You're doing a Poch now because you're moving the goalposts. The point with Maatsen, yeah, is he might not be Ashley Cole, but end of the day, he knows how to play in that role.
I think he won good performance from Maatsen in the Chelsea shirt, man.
Because he got killed, bro.
Season,
because he was playing right winger, brother, and he's a left back, bro.
Dan, this is the thing, though. I was at the game. I was at the bridge against Palace. Yeah, this guy killed him by playing him right wing against some physical players. Right, you're playing him in a position that he's not used to. He can play there, yes, but that's not his best position. This guy came on against Brighton because Gallagher got sent off. By the way, if you remember that first half, he got sent off. Yeah. Disasi was getting cooked at right back. I was even at the bridge at that game as well. He was getting cooked. What did Pochettino do? Ian, come. I need you. He called him. Ian Maatsen had a very good game when he came on and helped him. He wasn't even playing at left back. He was playing at right back. But guess what? When you're playing as a fullback, it's easier for you to alternate sides, right? The angle of the pitch is a little bit different, but it's the same concept. You're still running up and down, right? Only difference is you're playing on your weaker foot or your stronger foot on that side, yeah? Maatsen, he played right back. Didn't start the next game. What it is with Poch and Maatsen, he didn't trust him because of his height. He kept banging on about height. We need height in this team, but then week after week after week, we're still conceding set pieces. We're still conceding headers, right? I wouldn't complain much about playing guys out of position if it was working. If it was getting results, we're beating Forest, we're beating West Ham. We're playing all these guys out of position. There's not much I can say. I can say, listen, I don't like it, but you know what? It's working right now. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why I feel the way I do right now is because this man kept persisting with something that don't work. And what is it that Einstein said? Yeah, the sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's my problem with Poch. I'm a patient guy, bro. Last season, I was defending Graham Potter when people were trying to say, get this guy out. I said, bro, how can you even judge this guy when he's literally got about 10, 11 players out? we're using not even B team players, we're using C team players. Went to Newcastle with a front three of Gallagher, Mount, and Broja. Right, this is what he's working with. I said, bro, give him a little bit of time. Wait for guys to recover. In January, if we sign new players, then I'm gonna start judging him. And that's on January onwards. That's when I started to actually say, do you know what? This guy should be playing better than what we were, and we still wasn't picking up results.
But
right?
Don,
Pochettino. There's no excuses to be playing this amount of guys out of position, especially when they're young. It's not like it's a Man City where they've been playing together, they're seasoned pros. There's already a structure in place, and you can move people around. This is a team that needs to be built. You need to build an easy platform for these guys to build from. I said it on the terrace, bro. In the summer, I was being told by Hannah, a United fan, give it time. These guys need to gel. All the generic talk you get of a new team. But I told her, I said, you will never build the chemistry or the cohesion that you need when you're playing multiple guys out of position. And that is one big thing that he's been doing.
Not winning games.
Or if you're not winning, or if you're not winning games,
you have to get belief, man. They have to see some sort of results.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like, what is this?
Exactly. Do you know what I'm saying? At the start of the season, cool. We were looking good in the eye. I said we improved in comparison to last year. I'm seeing patterns. But bro, when we came back after the international break and the first game was Brentford, if you remember the run of games that we had, Brentford, we lost. Newcastle, we got battered, right? We had Man United, we lost against Ten Hag. That's still their best performance this season. We drew against Man City, right? No, but that Everton, run of we lost against Everton. That's when we regressed. We went like this. After that international break. Do you know what I mean? And for me, how I felt the other day, Alex, is exactly how I felt against Southampton last season when we lost to who was it when we lost to? And I said get this guy out. Yeah, Wolves. How when we lost against Wolves is exactly how I felt against Southampton. I said, no, get this guy out. I'm sorry, get this man out. I got the exact same feeling. So for me, for me to change my mind, this guy has to consistently set us up correctly to a point where I'm like, okay, cool. Now it's actually trying to do the right thing. Because it doesn't take this long for a manager that's been in the game now for over 10 years, bro. It's not like he's a Mickey Mouse manager we've just picked up from Tesco around the corner. Like, do you know what I mean?
I mean, Don, he has never been this bad with a team. In the circumstances, he never finishes low with Tottenham.
Bro, look at the tweets. Look at the tweets, Alex, that are coming out from PSG fans.
Left back. I don't think he doesn't believe in his players, brother. That's what it is.
There we go.
He doesn't believe. Let's think about it. That first half against Aston Villa proved to me that we are good enough to go and play football, good enough to get the ball in opposing players, team's half, get the players running, getting shots off at goal, having some attacking cohesion, some patterns of play. And then first half against Palace, we revert back to what we've been seeing all season.
No, we didn't though. We played exactly the same as we did against Villa against Palace.
Yes, but they didn't press. That was different.
Yeah, but what's the point of playing Palmer as a 9 when Palace are just going to sit back?
Do you know what? This is it, Don, right? This is where we've said so many times with Pochettino, and this is where fans' patience are running out. Like, yes, it worked against Villa. Like, we've seen this 4-4-2 that he played work against City, work against Arsenal for a period of time, work against Tottenham eventually, and then we've seen it work against Villa. Like, we occupy spaces in those games, in that system, that we can benefit because those teams are coming onto us, right? When you're playing against a team like Palace that are willing to sit in that low block, mid block, however that looks, that's when we then start to see Caicedo on his island, like you say, because all of a sudden, there's no options in front of him, right? So that's when, for me, it annoys me with Poch because why can he not see that, yes, that'll work against Villa because they need to go and win that game, but Palace are willing to sit back and counter-attack all game. Why is he not changing up the system and like trying something different? Obviously, we won a game against Villa, so he didn't probably want to change anything, but for me, it was obvious that was never going to work against Palace. I'm not
trying to talk about systems and this and that. I'm just trying to say, as a team and as fans, what we expect for us traveling fans going up and down the country, what we expect to see, and we expect to see our team play against Villa first half. Just getting at teams, just getting the ball in the other half, getting crosses in the box.
Then comes down to how a team's being set up, right?
But you still, as a manager, you still install that mentality of like, okay, against Crystal Palace, Villa, we knew it was good, 2 completely teams. but still, we still want to see the intent. If you know what I mean, the ball going forward quicker instead of going left to right.
But
So
Kev, do you know when you're going to see that though? What happened when Silva came off? By the way, guys, what happened when Thiago Silva got injured and we played Levi Colwill, a young player that apparently needs his hand held. When last season he was playing for Brighton. Yeah. What happened when we took Palmer out that 9 and we put him in his
I was going to say that was the biggest change for me. That was the biggest change for me.
We started to play faster, and that's what
even with Thiago Silva, Don playing centre back for the start of the second half. Palmer coming out of that 9, getting on the ball on that right hand side where Palace did look vulnerable. All of a sudden, we scored. We opened up that game. Gusto got the assist from that side as well. Like even with Thiago Silva on, I think he suddenly had an outball in Palmer on that right-hand side. But I feel like he's just constantly looking for the perfect pass, Thiago Silva, because of the level he's played at and the players that he's played at. And he's just not seeing those options in this inexperienced Chelsea side. But you're right. Badiashile against Villa, we moved the ball so much better, even though he wasn't as accurate with his passing. Like, he went in behind quickly and with urgency.
They play what they see. Silva doesn't. Silva will look, he'll see it, and he does this, and he does that, and he does that. He starts doing all this. It's annoying. It's annoying.
I do agree with what you're saying. I don't think that Silva should necessarily have the minutes, but I don't think he's doing it necessarily for tactical reasons. I think he's doing it to get leadership on the pitch, ultimately. And if the owners really believe in this long-term process, and if Poch really believes in this long-term process, he's going to ease players in. You shouldn't just put everyone in if they're not ready. That's why Mudryk is getting inconsistent minutes. That's why Madueke is getting minutes. We called for Madueke to start against Sterling, and he made the mistake that ultimately cost us the goal against Palace. Now, we ended up winning that game, but let's say we lose 1-0. We're going to rinse Madueke. So ultimately, I think that we need to look at the results and take them with more of a pinch of salt. Year one, guys. When a player comes into a team, and Lewis says this all the time, and I completely agree with him on this, is, you've got to just let the player settle in for the first year. When Cucurella come in, he was crap, but it was the first year. Sterling, it was crap, but it was the first year. Now it's different if these players aren't performing, and it's different if Ben Chilwell doesn't perform, because they've been here and they know what it's like. Whereas the players who have just come in, I think you have to be more lenient because they don't have anyone else to look up to. Who do you look up to? Fucking Sterling? I mean, come on. There's no standard to look up to. But listen,
guys are not babies, man. They don't need Silva to hold his hand every game, Alex. You
know
what I mean?
Absolutely not.
Don't forget the individual mistakes that Silva was making at the start of the season against Forest, against West Ham. There's those countless opportunities there for Poch to see what was going to happen with this man in the season. I love Silva, all-time legend, cult hero at Chelsea. We're the only club in his whole career that gave him the Champions League. I love Silva. But at the end of the day, every dog has his day, and his day has been coming for a long time. He should have been phased out this season. You know what I mean? Should have been, bro.
It's true. I mean, I would like to see Disasi and Colwell together. I definitely agree with that.
Silva's still our best defender, though, isn't he? Just not on the ball, in terms of how we need to be playing and how progressive we need to be. Actually, as a defender, he's probably still our best.
He made some good blocks against Palace, definitely, and he's been involved in some crucial moments. He's also one of the only players who actually gets involved on a header. That's one of the things that frustrates me about Disasi. Sometimes I just don't understand what he's doing in the box, especially that Luton game. Do you remember the last 10 minutes? I was thinking, Disasi, where are you going? But yeah, I do think that Poch will play Cole as a centre back next season. Ultimately, time will tell, and I hope that Poch gets the time to prove us wrong, because this season I just don't see it being a positive getting rid of him. But worst case, they sack him in the summer. Now, there is a little bit of news that's gone around. We obviously need a striker. PSG are said to be making an offer for Victor Osimhen. I just want to know what you guys think about this. Let's start with you, Kev. First of all, is Osimhen your first choice that you would take at Chelsea? And secondly, do you actually think we have a chance of getting this man?
I do believe we've got a chance of getting him. Obviously, there may not be European football at the Bridge next year, but I think a club of our stature, a lot of these African players have always idolised the Drogbas and Essien, so it's been these. Osimhen's a massive Chelsea fan, So I do believe we'd have a chance of getting him. But why would you leave it so late? We should have got it tied up in January, if you ask me. Obviously, with Mbappe coming out today saying he's definitely leaving, there's a massive hole there, PSG, to be filled. So, of course, if it was PSV or Chelsea, who would you go to? You go to PSG, wouldn't I? In this time, but if we going off first choice, second choice, he was definitely my first choice. I think Osimhen, you're going to get 30 goals out of him next year, 100%. That's what we've been crying out for the last few months. Someone to stick that ball in the net, and this guy can do it in massive numbers. I still think Toney would be a good choice as well. Second choice, reason being is he's not going to be moving too far. He's proved on a yearly basis now. I think it's first season running that he can score goals in the Prem. So I think he'd definitely come and do a job at Chelsea. But yeah, just a bit pissed off really that PSG are probably going to be favourites to get his signature now. And he did come out in January saying that he's made his decision up, and we was led to believe that it was us getting him. But it looks like PSG has sneaked in.
I don't see that PSG would be the
I'm not
front
surprised. I'm not surprised by this though, because PSG were always going to have Osimhen on their list, because Mbappe leaving is a domino effect. Like we know Osimhen's gonna leave in the summer. Like the news today, to me, I'm not surprised by it. It's like, okay, yeah, I expected this.
I'm a little bit. I thought they'd be a shoo-in for Rafael Leao. I just didn't see the Osimhen move. Nah, mate. I think they signed Ramos and they signed Kolo Muani to fill that void.
Yeah,
I think they prepared last season for Thingy leaving, thinking that he might go last summer. Mbappe.
But Ramos is
on loan as well.
He's a loan deal, isn't he?
You haven't signed him permanently. He's on loan. He's on
right.
loan.
It's not really worked, has it? Either he's not exactly set the world alight there. But I genuinely think that they probably would have signed him permanently had it gone well. Maybe they're deciding now that it's not. But I just thought they would have been a shoo-in for Rafael Leao, especially with the Portuguese sort of direction that they had in recent years with the players they've been signing. I just thought that would have been a match made in heaven. I think Kev's bang on. I think we have a chance of signing Osimhen. I think the African players that we've had are so well respected by him that he sees them as good advice, and they're probably advising him to come here. The likes of Mikel, Drogba, I think they've been in his ear. I would say though, off the back of the AFCON, he'd probably no longer be my number one choice.
He's obviously got to believe in the project as well, because obviously, we haven't been finishing in the best positions the last couple of years. It looks like we'll probably finish around 7th or 8th this year. I'm sure he'll be looking at that as well. Yeah.
Just on Ramos, by the way, they have made it permanent. By the way,
I thought that. I just checked it. I just checked it. Saying that because I thought that was done deal last year for like 80 mil or something.
Yeah, they triggered it in
January.
This is from November. They triggered it. Yeah. So he's going to be under contract until 2028.
I think they've known that this is Mbappe's last season since last summer. I think they probably asked for one more. I think we've all probably known it's coming sooner rather than later, and we're all probably shocked that Mbappe got one more season. And I just felt like they had their striker situation sort of, they'd already dealt with that, and then they'd have a void over on the left, and Rafael Leao would have just fitted that Portuguese link that I feel like they've had in recent years. That would, because Ramos obviously went there, and they've had like a couple of other ones join from Portugal as well. And I think they had a Portuguese director of football or sporting director or something like that. So Osimhen, it surprised me today when I read that, because I kind of felt like that was what we were waiting for. That's why nothing happened in January. I don't know.
Me,
I don't know if any of you guys watched him in AFCON, but he didn't look like the answer to Chelsea's problems.
AFCON's the worst place to judge a player. I know he wasn't that great,
really?
But yeah, AFCON. Listen, if you're African, you know, innit? Right. Don't use that competition.
Educate me though, because like I watched it and was like, I'm seeing a guy who's running the channels a lot. I'm seeing a guy who doesn't look like the striker I've seen at Napoli. And I'm looking at a guy that like is like not too dissimilar from what I've seen from Nicholas Jackson.
There's hardly any tactics that goes into anything.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It looks like anyway. This looks like this going. Look, probably like this Ivory Coast sat their manager, and they went on to win it like a few weeks after.
Yeah.
How I look at. For me, like for me, when we spoke about it in the summer, I said Toney's my first option because I think Toney's a better player than him, and I think in terms of overall, obviously he's Premier League proven as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he doesn't have to bed into the country and all of that stuff. He lives in London already, like he knows the league. He's ready to go. Do you know what I mean? But obviously with Osimhen, he's younger than him, And in terms of potential, he can reach a higher level in terms of potential because obviously he's got 3 years on him. I think Tony's got like 3 or 4 years on him. Because Tony's 27, Osimhen's 24, right?
Tony's coming 28, and Osimhen's
so
yeah. What was Tony doing at Osimhen's age? Like Osimhen was in Serie A and Tony's killing it. Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, it was killing it in the championship. But how I look at both of them, look, beggars can't be choosers. I'm taking both. I'm taking either of them, right? But in the box, the thing about Osimhen, the guy finds space where there's no space in the box. And one thing that I've noticed, Dan, you mentioned earlier, we've had about 200 chances or something like that in the box. Yeah. If you've got Osimhen there's so many times where I've looked this season where Mudrik's whipped it. Jackson's not there. This guy's whipped it. There's no one there. Osimhen, all you got to do is just get your leg on it. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's in. They might not look pretty. If you watch some of Haaland's goals, bro, most of them even, they're just tappings, bro. Most of them. He finds himself in the right area. And do you know why that is? His movement in the box. So I think Osimhen would suit how we play, right? Toney, I think he would suit how we play as well because he's like a diluted version of Kane. He likes to link up.
I completely agree with that. He can definitely drop off and play,
Very, 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 very similar to Kane. And his passing is very underrated as well, and he's got a good shot on him. But in the box, I would say Osimhen's better than him in the box. So listen, right now, my mind changes all the time, innit? Do you know what I mean? If we get Toney, I'm happy. If we get Osimhen, I'm happy as well. But guys, just prepare yourself. These guys are going to miss chances. Haaland misses a lot of chances, right? If you watch Man City, this guy misses a lot of chances. But what happens is they create a lot for him. So out of 5 chances, he's bagging 2 or 3 of them. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it with Osimhen, man. And for me, the only way I see him going PSG is if they offer him a crazy bag. I'm talking something that we can't match. And he's like, do you know what? Let me just go for the money. But overall, bro, I think he's going to come to the Prem.
Saudi, innit?
Let me put this
in Saudi at this stage right now. Nah, I think I think he's gonna come to the Prem, unless PSG blow him out the water of the money they're offering.
Like a bit like the Uruguay.
Let me put this out there. Viktor Gyökeres from Sporting. There was a rumor that we put in a big bid in January. And I did a show on this with Charlie and Nina. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Like, I'd never heard of the guy, but his stats in such a short space of time, the goals that he's able to score, the contributions, I mean, they're world-class numbers. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying...
Have you seen it today? Have you seen what they put up today about him?
No.
Let me try and find it. Fabrizio posted it. He scored again today. Let me try and find it right here.
Right? So if we were to put in an offer for Viktor Gyökeres, people take that as us not being ambitious. And to an extent, I suppose I can understand that argument because compared to Toney and Osimhen, like we've never heard of the guy. But actually, in the grand scheme of it, I mean, this is a striker who's performing exceptionally well. He was amazing at Coventry, got a move to Sporting. And immediately you're playing in European football with one of the biggest clubs in Portugal. And let's not forget as well, Portuguese players that come from Portugal tend to do really, really well in the Prem. So actually, nobody's been speaking about this guy. But I don't see any problem with us signing him either. Now, would I rather have Osimhen? Yes. Would I rather have Toney? Yes. I think the reality is we're not going to get Toney. I just don't see him picking us over Arsenal. If they offer the money, he's going to Arsenal. And then we're going to be competing with United and PSG for Osimhen. But I just think it's United. If I'm Osimhen, I want to play in the Premier League. The guy, when he was a kid, he owned 2 shirts, a Man United shirt and a Chelsea shirt. So evidently likes those 2 clubs more than PSG. Why would you go to PSG?
Alex, just on the money. Gyökeres, he's got 38 GA now. He's got 38 GA. He's scored 27 goals and he's got 11 assists in his first season in Portugal. They bought him from Coventry. I can't speak on it because I've never watched him, bro. I've never watched 90 minutes of this guy.
You don't need to watch him to see that. These are world-class.
No, you do. Stats. Darwin Núñez had stats like that, man. Come on.
Darwin Núñez is playing well at Liverpool, mate.
But he's not clinical like that Chelsea require. He's not the answer. Like Darwin Núñez.
Man, I don't Darwin Núñez at Chelsea right now, brother. We need a number 9. We need a vocal. We need a vocal. I know you mean. He's not clinical enough. He's not clinical enough. But we need a someone up there to to play the ball into to pay off, and that's what we haven't got right now. Cole Palmer's not doing that job right now.
Yeah, but
Bro,
Jackson can actually do that role. If you just want someone to occupy that space and play off of him, he can do that role. He just ain't. He ain't going to be.
He relies on Nkunku. They have a nice chemistry, so when they play together,
yeah, but we can't say that because we haven't seen them two play together bar like 3 games in.
Well, they looked exceptional in pre-season.
Yeah, and that was a good indication.
Looked exceptional. We had completely different tactics in pre-season, but Poch
there we go. Then you just answered why we look different, Dan. Because after Nkunku got injured and Carney especially as well, he threw away all his principles, and that's what annoys me about this manager as well. What he sold us a dream in pre-season. People will turn around and say, "Oh, it's only pre-season," but it's a good way for you, especially with a new manager. It's a good way for you to see what they're trying to implement. I watched Ange in pre-season when Tottenham played Barcelona. I said, bro, this is night and day in comparison to how they were playing last season under Conte, right? And they carried that same style of play on in the season because pre-season is there. Pre-season, you're there to see what the manager's trying to implement, what these new players can bring to the team. And like Alex has said, it was a good way for us to see the relationship between Nkunku and Jackson. Jackson is not a lone striker, and neither is Nkunku. Do you know what I'm saying? Jackson's movement up top
could play off each other quite well, but
Jackson,
for what, 20 minutes.
Jackson looks better on the left than
he does.
He
does
as well. When we look at the cup final, I'll be honest with you, I would rather have Jackson on the left. And then, to be honest with you, I don't really see any other option. I think Poch is going to play Cole Palmer as a false 9 because defensively we need help on the left side. I would have advocated for Madueke, to be honest with you, but I'm a little bit torn on the right. Because I feel like if you're going to give a stupid ball away, Liverpool are going to score. So I'm unsure what we do on the right side. But for the left, for me, it's a no-brainer. You've got to play Jackson there. If Nkunku's fit, he's going to play. Palmer's going to play. And then I suppose you could even argue about Sterling playing on the right. I do. No. He looks a lot better on the right than
Alex. That man.
I'd agree with.
That man he's got 4 Carabao Cups, I believe. Yeah, he won at City. He doesn't give a shit. His body language has been stinking, and I'm someone that's said like for years this guy gets disrespected in the Prem. For me, he gets in the top 10 Prem wingers of all time. Yeah, the amount of goals he scored, the amount of things that he's won, the longevity, the clubs that he's played for, bro, he gets in that top 10. You can't tell me he doesn't get in the top 10 wingers in Prem history when you actually break it down. Only Aguero
doesn't play like a top 1,000 winger for us. I mean,
I get that, but we know what Sterling is. That's why I said earlier, he's grenade football. He is what he is, and off the ball, he's not going to help track back. Whether that's on the right, whether that's on the left, the guy right now is just there as his job. He's not hungry. I need hungry players. And what I've seen from Madueke recently is he tracks back. I know he was poor last game, but then look at the game against Aston Villa. He was very good.
Tracking back.
Noni has to learn from that. Noni has to learn from that, doesn't he? But I feel like we're missing a trick if we don't play Cole Palmer in that position. Like he's obviously been so good out from that kind of side, and then Nkunku should be starting for me. By the time we get to that final, we should know that Nkunku's starting alongside, probably, unfortunately for us, alongside Conor Gallagher or something, because that's what Poch is going to do. But I feel like I'd rather see Cole Palmer in his best position and Nkunku occupying a space where he feels a little bit more natural. And Conor Gallagher in. Do you know what? The thing is, Conor Gallagher off the ball is arguably one of our best players. Like, in terms of how we are defensively, pressing and the work rate and leading a press, Conor Gallagher is there every time leading that press. But actually, the rest of our squad, like we said about Sterling and a couple of other players, even Jackson's press isn't that good, to be honest with you. Like, it concerns me a little bit. Jackson out on the left against Connor Bradley would worry me in that League Cup final. I just would be a little bit concerned.
Did you see what game was that where he was tracking back literally last second? Like, what game was that? That was I think that was against Brighton because we was hanging on towards the end a bit, and he literally ran back. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, that was against Brighton. He ran back here and he helped win the ball back. So again, these guys, it's a mentality thing. Poch needs to drill it into them because one thing that worries me about him as well is his man management. You know, Jackson is nearly on 10 yellow cards now. If he gets another one, that's 2 games he's missing. And he got a silly.
You know, I think he'll miss the final. I think he'll get booked.
He got a silly booking for running on and celebrating. Yeah. Do you think any of these players at Man City or Arsenal will do that? Do you think Arteta's allowing it?
I bet he got fined.
You think Pep's allowing that?
I can't see that being. allowed. I'm
Yeah.
sure Poch would have fined him big time for that yellow.
I don't know what Poch is doing, but these men don't respect him like that. They think they're his friend. That's what it is. Because if they respected him, Jackson would not be doing that, right? The discipline in this team is a joke. Do you know what I'm saying? So he needs to drill it into these guys that, listen, off the ball, you might need to work. Because Liverpool are there for the taking. They embarrassed us at Anfield. We can't go to Wembley and lose. What's this? 6 finals in a row if we go there and lose, right? And 3 of them would be against Liverpool.
Yeah,
That's embarrassing, but we need to win by any means. We need to win this game. We need to win this game, man.
Well, listen, guys. Just before we move on to the next part of the podcast, we're just going to give a shout out to Match Bingo. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of Match Bingo. I personally didn't hear about them before this season, but this season they're making a massive push, and you can see why. I mean, basically what it is, rather than going on and figuring out what am I going to bet on, what am I going to do, not everybody knows how it works. They essentially make all the decisions for you, just like in bingo, and then you can see if you can actually win. Now, one of the key points here with Match Bingo that I really like is there's a lot of people that don't know when to stop. So in terms of gambling responsibly or playing responsibly, there's no limit. Every single game on this app, except for the free ones, and they do quite a few free ones as well. I think they do 10 free cards a month. Every game is capped at £2. So if you just want to have a little bit of fun, you don't want to go over the top, this is a great app to use. I highly recommend it, guys. You know, if you did it for the Palace game and you got some of it right, you could win up to I think the jackpot was over £200. So really good prizes available. And also they donate, I think it's 35% of the profits they make to the Stroke Association. So these guys, to be honest with you, I'm a big fan. You know, they've got a lot of good things going for them, helping charities as well. But you do have to be over 18 to play. So if you're under the age of 18, I'm sorry. But if you're 18 or over, check it out. Click the link in the description. Make sure you play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. But listen, we're going to get back into the rest of the pod. We only got about 9 minutes left. It's gone really quickly, guys. I have to say, this is a really nice conversation because I feel like we're covering a lot of good points, but at the same time, it's not going well at Chelsea. And ultimately, I'll be the first one to say this. I do try and be positive. But there is hope. And we can only hold on to hope. And that's all we have this season. So,
that's a perfect way to go into Man City, Alex. I think you should give us your take on what you think of the game.
About Man City. I think we're going to draw that game. I think we're going to draw 2-2. I think people are going to be very surprised. And I think that there's going to be goals. I think there is space to attack City. They've got injuries. They've played more games than us. And ultimately, Gvardiol got injured.
Actually, yeah.
Got injured.
Silva as well. Yeah.
They've got a few players out. Obviously, the key, Haaland, De Bruyne, you've got to be careful. For me, it's a game of energy. If you come out with the right energy and intensity, you can get something out of this game. That's how we did well at Stamford Bridge. Tactically, we were good as well, but it's energy. And the crowd will be behind this team 100%. The away fans against at Villa and Palace, world-class support. People could say what they want to say about toxicity and fans not being behind the project. Ultimately, we want to win each game. So I think if the players are up for it and if we set up well, we've actually got a chance of getting something in that game. Originally, I said 3-2, but then I thought, Alex, stop kidding yourself. I'll take
3-2 to who?
To Chelsea. I've changed it.
That's 3-2.
You actually thought we was going to beat City at
I've changed it, haven't I, Kev? It's 2-2.
Do you know what's so annoying, though, about Man City? Yeah? Let's be real about it, guys. Uncomfortable conversations. Every time we play these lot, we give them headaches in terms of, like, attacking them and actually getting chances. It's our poor finishing that kills us every single time we play these, man. You know what I'm saying? If you guys remember Tuchel, when he played Pep in 6 weeks, he beat him like 3 times or something like that over 3 weeks. And then since we beat them in the final, they just embarrassed us. We didn't score a single goal until the last game at the Bridge. Do you know what I'm saying? For me, I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all that we beat Man City or we get anything against Man City. Not because I think our players are shit. is because of the manager. That's the reason why I'm not confident. I don't know how he's going to...
An amazing, well, not an amazing record, but a decent record against Guardiola in recent times.
Yeah, but away from home, though. Away from home, yeah, Alex. Like, again, the way he set us up against Liverpool, leaving Caicedo on the island by himself. If he does that again against Man City, it'll be a worse result than what Arsenal got against West Ham. We'll lose by 8 goals. How about that? Yeah, if we leave Caicedo by himself, he'll probably even get injured. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, how I'm looking at the game is we've got a good enough team right now to be set up correctly to give us half a chance. Because when you watch Man City, bro, you can get at them. They're sus at the back. Do you know what I mean? They're very sus at the back. It's just attacking, bro. And on that transition, their attacks do not break down. They are so well drilled. They have so much quality that when they're running at you, 5% of the time is the only time when it ever breaks down. Most of the time, they're going to get a chance from the end of it. And now they've got KDB as well. He loves playing against us. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him score a free kick against us. I've seen him score bangers against us.
Oh, remember that
ridiculous
goal that he scored against us? Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, how I look at it right now, I think they're the favourites to win the game. But if this guy sets us up correctly, there's every chance to get something out of the game. Whether that's a draw, whether we win somehow. Do you know what I mean? Because Man City, they're not invincible, but for me, they're the best team in the country, innit? And they've got world-class players. That's the main difference right now. So I still think we lose the game, in my opinion, because I just don't trust this guy. But if he sets us up right, like I said, we've got a chance of leaving with something. Yeah, half a chance, and that is.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Kev?
Exactly how Dom said. If you set us up properly, we've got a chance. And I think against City, if you're good on the counter, so if you can get transition your players into their half very quickly, you'll get chances. But if we want to play that slow, lethargic, left to right back football against City, it's just going to be the same results that happened against Liverpool and Man United. We're just going to get torn to pieces. So it's all about mentality. How can we affect them as much as they're going to affect us? We all know they're going to have the majority of the ball. But if we win the ball in our half, how quick can we get in their half and get a shot away? And if we can have that aggressive transition of play into their half, I reckon we'll get some opportunities. But like Don said a bit ago, the previous games, we've created the opportunities. I think last year went to me and you, Alex. Sterling missed a sitter to go 1-0 up, and then literally 2 minutes later, bang, they've gone and scored. Game over. So
and look how they beat us at the Bridge last season as well. Kepa, that bum. Morris, you know what I'm saying? Last second, literally was 0-0, and they beat us 1-0 from that bum. Worst keeper I've seen.
It's never really. Obviously, they've been the better team since Champions League final, but it's never really a game where they usually struggle against us. It's because we don't fear him like that, and we shouldn't fear him. We've got players that can hurt us as much as they can hurt us, apart from Haaland, you can say, but we've got players that can hurt them too. So it's about, but Pochettino needs to get into the head from now and say, look, lads, let's go and give him. If we lose, they was favourites anyway. If we go there and give them a game and try and get shots away and try and get an error off and try and get in their box, at least giving us fans a room for round.
Do you want an interesting stat? You know, before the last game when Haaland scored, we were one of the last teams he scored against in the Prem. Was us.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
He struggled against us. That's what I'm saying. Like,
and it was a penalty. Do you remember it? It was that controversial whether or not it was a pen or not.
Yes. Cucurella, innit? Cucurella.
Penalty, yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
in the stadium,
and then we went 2-1 up because we ended up getting a 4-4 draw, didn't we? Like last minute. Was it Cole Palmer?
Yeah.
Broja got clattered in the box. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is the thing. They, like Kev's saying, we shouldn't be fearing Manchester City. Like, we have that one over Manchester City, obviously, in Porto, and I think that's hurt them, and I think that's why they've been so ruthless against us. But ultimately, we shouldn't be fearing them at all. We've got players in this squad who very recently got the better of Man City in a game where we probably should have come out of that as winners rather than coming out of that with a draw. I think we all felt like we'd played well enough in that game to win at the Bridge. But going to the Etihad's a different story. And the other thing is, I was just looking at the team, like, they didn't have De Bruyne. And I'm just looking like that they played Akanji and Rodri as holding midfielders. So, yeah, I think that's obviously a huge difference. Is that him coming back into that side kind of swings it a little bit for me into Man City's favour. I don't know if a 2-2 draw is what if we're leaving the Etihad with a 2-2 draw, we've got to be so happy that we've managed not to lose to a Manchester City side in the league this season.
I'm taking that. I'm taking that because we
And
can't
actually, I
let
think if
guys like
if
West Ham
we
leave us.
Looked at Poch just on his games, just on the majority of his matches against big 6 clubs, if we like, we'd actually all probably be pretty happy with how he's been. I think the problem Chelsea fans have is how it's gone against the teams that we should comfortably be wiping the floor with, like Palace. But we have to have a chance. We always have a chance playing against Manchester City because of how open they are. And other teams have gone and played against Manchester City and had success. We've scored 4 against them this season. How many teams have done that? Like, we do have a chance, but I'm not as confident as I probably was after the Villa game because of how annoying and frustrating it was to watch that Palace game. So that worries me a little bit.
I love how everyone's writing us off, because even me, I'm not confident. I am writing us off myself, but it feels better when you write off the team and then they come and surprise you. It's like, why can't you not do this, weekly? It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And the things that we're asking for, Alex, we're not asking for Poch to go to Mount Everest and speak to like a guru up there and bring all these portions back to earth. And we're not asking for much. All we're asking is put Caicedo and Enzo near each other. Put guys in a natural position. Please don't play Palmer as a 9. You know what I mean? These are little things that we're just asking for, which are just, it's not too much to ask for. It's not too much to ask for, bro.
Well, I think you're right on everything, but I do understand why he plays Palmer in a false 9. And I will understand it if he does that in the final. We've already spoken about that because of how bad we are defensively on the wings. But yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we're going to round it off there. Thank you so much for everyone if you have been watching for the whole podcast, and let us know in the comments if you like it, if you want to see more episodes with myself, Dan, Kev, and Don. Listen, guys, I'm going to leave the channel descriptions as well below, and if you haven't already, please go and check out Match Bingo. You won't regret it. Really, really good game to play for the upcoming games as well. But all the best, guys, and we will see you on the next episode.